A Gathering of Old Men is a novel published in 1983 by American author Ernest J. Set on a Louisiana plantation, the story centers on Candy Marshall, part owner of the plantation, as she attempts to shield a black man who has killed a racist work boss, Beau Boutan. Gaines, who was raised as a fifth-generation sharecropper on a plantation in Point Coupee, Louisiana, has captured the history of this region in his novels and short stories since 1964. His work has earned him numerous accolades, including the National Book Critics Circle Award in 1993 and the National Humanities Medal. He has also been honored as a Chevalier of the French Ordre des Arts et des Lettres. The plot unfolds on the Marshall plantation in Bayonne, Louisiana, where the Cajun work boss Beau Boutan has been murdered. Candy Marshall discovers the body outside the home of Mathu, a black worker she suspects may be responsible. However, because Mathu is like a foster father to her, Candy is determined to protect him. She gathers everyone at the plantation to Mathu's house. When Miss Merle, a local plantation owner, arrives and Candy confesses to the murder, Miss Merle is skeptical but understands Candy's motives and agrees to help her. Candy assembles as many local men as possible at Mathu's house, instructing them to bring 12-gauge shotguns and empty shells. Her plan is to confuse Sheriff Mapes with an abundance of conflicting evidence. Miss Merle spreads word of the plan, and within hours, 18 elderly men, each 70 years or older, arrive at the house, each armed with a shotgun. However, the threat to Mathu isn't limited to the sheriff. Fix Boutan, Beau's father, is known for inciting lynch mobs against black people in the area. Candy and the others anticipate that Fix will seek revenge for his son's death by any means necessary. When Sheriff Mapes arrives with Candy's boyfriend, Lou Dimes, he quickly assesses the situation. His first instinct is to send his deputy to keep Fix off the plantation, knowing that if Fix gets involved, a lynching is inevitable. Although Candy confesses to the murder, the sheriff isn't convinced. He begins interrogating the old men, but his questioning leads nowhere. The first two men he questions, Billy Washington and Gable, both confess to the murder. Despite being struck by the sheriff, they refuse to back down. The sheriff then questions Reverend Jameson, who also refuses to cooperate, leading the sheriff to punch him to the ground. This prompts all the remaining men to stand up, offering themselves to be hit as well. Taken aback by their defiance, the sheriff realizes his interrogation is futile and tries to deduce the real culprit. He rules out Charlie, Beau's main underling, who is missing, reasoning that Charlie is too mentally fragile to have confronted Beau. Following this line of reasoning, the sheriff concludes that Mathu is the only local black man with the resolve to kill a white man. Mathu has a history of standing up to the white community, making him the most likely suspect in the sheriff's mind. However, the sheriff lacks concrete evidence against Mathu, and instead he faces a dozen confessions from others. Each of the old men has a valid motive for killing Beau. One man's sister was raped by the work boss, another's son was wrongfully accused and executed. Despite his conviction that Mathu is guilty, the sheriff realizes he is powerless to act without evidence. Instead, everyone waits at the house to see if Fix Boutan will arrive. Meanwhile, Beau's brother, Gil, is a football player at Louisiana State University, where his partnership with a black halfback named Cal has earned them the nickname Salt and Pepper. Initially, upon hearing of his brother's murder, Gil is overcome with grief and anger, leading to a falling out with Cal. However, when Gil visits the plantation and hears the confessions from Candy and the old men, he is deeply moved. Back at his family home, Fix is in the midst of rallying a mob for revenge when Gil arrives. Gil tries to persuade his father that lynching is a thing of the past and that they should leave the matter to the authorities. Fix and Luke Will, a family friend, argue with Gil, but Gil refuses to participate in the violence, fearing it could ruin his chances of playing professional football. Though unconvinced by Gil's reasoning, Fix decides not to seek revenge without his son's support. However, Luke Will has no such reservations and leads a group of men to a local bar to get drunk in preparation for the lynching. While this is happening, Sheriff Mapes learns that Fix has decided to stay home. Mathu agrees to go with the sheriff to jail, but before they can leave, Charlie arrives and confesses to Beau's murder. He explains that he spent the day in hiding, but now wants to face his punishment like a man. Sheriff Mapes accepts Charlie's confession, but as they are about to leave, Luke and his mob show up, demanding that the sheriff hand Charlie over to them. When Mapes refuses, Luke shoots him in the arm. At this point, the old men, who have been hiding a stash of live shotgun shells, open fire on the white mob. A fierce battle ensues, during which Sheriff Mapes and one of the mob members, Leroy, are injured. In the end, Charlie and Luke shoot each other dead. After the battle, the plantation community gathers to honor Charlie's body. Weeks later, all the men involved in the gunfight are tried together and sentenced to 5 years of probation. Mathu and the old men leave the courthouse together, while Candy and Lou remain outside, finding solace in each other's company. A gathering of old men delves into themes of racism and community solidarity in the American South. The novel was adapted into a film of the same name in 1987. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.